Noah Gragson was spotted at Stewart-Haas Racing, and Joey Logano calls NASCAR fans spoiled. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Right now, there are two notable Cup Series seats without drivers for 2024. The Stewart-Haas Racing number 10 and the Kaulig Racing number 16. We've got updates regarding both. We will get to that in just a moment, but let's start with testing. Phoenix off-season testing continues today. This is day 2 of the 2-day test. 2 Ford, 2 Chevy, 2 Toyota drivers are all making laps in the desert, trying to improve the short oval racing package. There aren't many reporters at this test from what I understand, but we did get a couple quotes yesterday from Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones regarding some of the changes NASCAR has been testing. Shout out to Cole Cusimano. Here's his X account. He's been getting some good quotes the past 24 hours. He talked to Ryan Blaney, and Blaney said, quote, "We unloaded exactly how we were here in the fall. Then we did the different splitter. Big difference. Massive with the way it drives. There's so much downforce taken off of it. NASCAR is once again testing some different diffusers, different splitters, a ton of aero components." Ryan Blaney seemed to be a fan of the direction things were headed. Eric Jones, meanwhile, did not seem to feel the same aero differences, but had good things to say about the new tire compound Goodyear brought. Jones said, quote, "Tire stuff was really good. Of all the tires I've tested over my career, today was probably the biggest time I've noticed a difference." So the tone of both of those quotes, I think, lean positive, but hopefully we'll find out a lot more at the end of day 2 of testing later today. But I at least wanted to share those quotes with y'all. Joey Logano is facing some scrutiny this morning after comments he made on his show on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. He said NASCAR fans are spoiled. SiriusXM shared this clip on their official X account.
Our fans are spoiled. And I love our race fans, but think about other sports for a second. When are you going to meet an NFL player? Can you access an NFL player?
Nope.
Anytime, like 3 hours before a game? No. But you can meet me 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes before I get in the race car. You can take a picture with me. We walk down a red carpet, and there is people on both sides of us, and all the drivers stop and sign autographs, or at least try their hardest to, right? It's hard to get everybody, but you try your hardest to.
Honestly, the only reason these comments are drawing so much attention this morning is because of that first line. Joey Logano hooks you in right away. NASCAR fans are spoiled. But then everything he says afterwards is just kind of obvious. It's not controversial. Like, yeah, NASCAR drivers are way more accessible. You can't walk up to LeBron James before a Lakers game. That accessibility has honestly been one of NASCAR's greatest strengths the past few years. I do think Joey Logano is going a little too far. Like, yes, if you buy the special infield ticket or have a VIP pass because you're connected to a team or sponsor, whoever, then yes, you get to be a part of that red carpet autograph session, a great chance to get a signature or a picture with your favorite driver, but that is a fairly exclusive area. The average fan who buys a grandstand ticket still has a good shot of seeing their favorite driver. A lot of drivers do Q&As and meet and greets outside of the track on race day, but it can be hard to keep up with schedules, and not every driver does that every single week. So I think Logano's maybe overselling a bit, but it is much easier to meet your favorite driver at a NASCAR race than it is to meet your favorite athlete in just about any other major sport. And that's a good thing, I think, but it also implies that NASCAR isn't as popular as other sports, which is obvious. Obviously, NASCAR is not as popular as the NFL, but if we even just compare NASCAR to other motorsports, Formula One, way more popular than NASCAR, far less accessible. It's more expensive. You're not going to meet Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. The more popular you are, the less accessible you're going to be. NASCAR right now is somewhere in this middle ground compared to other motorsports, at least in America. It's actually not as accessible. NHRA, from what I understand, is more accessible. Maybe even IndyCar, at least for some events, can be more accessible. But sure, comparing NASCAR to the NFL, the American juggernaut that is the Shield, yeah, NASCAR is far more accessible, and that is great for the fans. The fans are spoiled. I don't know if I'd phrase it the way Joey Logano did, but I don't necessarily think he's wrong. Pivoting now, let's talk free agency. The 10 and the 16 still need drivers for 2024. Kaulig Racing is perhaps teasing AJ Allmendinger's future. They posted this graphic on social media suggesting there will be a major announcement tomorrow, Thursday, December 7th, and that looks like the back of AJ Allmendinger's head. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess I should, clean my glasses. No matter the case, it sounds like Kaulig Racing is close to solidifying more of their future plans. For the longest time, it sounded like AJ Allmendinger was going to head back down to the Xfinity Series, race full-time there. But then we'd also heard Ty Dillon was most likely to replace him, though those rumors recently have kind of quieted down. I do wonder if the delay in Kaulig Racing's announcement is the result of them pivoting themselves a bit, changing strategy, maybe working things out to keep AJ Allmendinger in Cup, because I believe AJ Allmendinger is a Cup Series driver. He's never been the best at ovals, although there are a few that seem to suit him very well, like Homestead, for example. Look at his numbers the last few years. But there are enough road courses on the schedule these days. He proved it this past season. He is a threat to win at each and every one of them. I think he's a Cup Series talent, so I hope that's what the announcement tomorrow is AJ Allmendinger staying in Cup in the 16. My head still says he's likely to go back to Xfinity, which, good for him. He'll tear it up. He'll win a few races, be a championship contender. But I'd certainly prefer to see Cup Series talents in the Cup Series. So we'll see what that announcement is. I guess we'll know in about 24 hours. So that's the most recent update on the 16. Regarding the Stewart-Haas Racing number 10, a few of y'all sent me or DM'd me this photo, this post. I believe the original post is right here. It was made to NASCAR's Reddit. But this user posted what appears to be a photo of Noah Gragson at Stewart-Haas Racing, at the shop, talking to, I think, I'm trying my best to guess the back of people's heads, but that looks like Drew Blickensderfer, the number 10 team crew chief from this past season. This isn't a huge surprise at this point. For weeks now, the rumor has been that Gragson will go to Stewart-Haas Racing to effectively take over Eric Almirola's old seat, but could this photo be an early leak, early proof? So far, no announcement has been scheduled. Of course, Gragson was suspended by both Legacy Motor Club and NASCAR towards the end of this past season. He has since been reinstated. He's completed their reinstatement process. So he is a free agent at this point. He is free to sign with any team that will have him. I want to shout out Sportsnaut's Matt Weaver, who wrote a great piece last week. He was able to catch up with Noah Gragson ahead of the Snowball Derby. I'll put a link to the article down in the description below. I encourage you to go check it out. But Weaver got Gragson to kind of open up about what the past few months have been like. One of the first quotes that jumped out at me, Gragson said that in 5 years, all the stuff that's happened these past few months will be one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. Again, I encourage you to go read the full article if you haven't already, but I'm just going to pull out a few excerpts. Gragson says a lot of the politically correct corporate stuff he's supposed to say. I was ignorant, I had to educate myself, I've learned a lot, I'm going to be better, which I'm sure much of that is genuine, but that's not the interesting stuff. One of the more interesting quotes was when Noah discussed what he's doing to change, how he's changing his daily habits. Gragson said, quote, "Another thing I've learned the past handful of months is just trying to find balance. I don't know that I would use the word relaxing, but this time has allowed me a lot of time to self-reflect. It's given me the space to build better personal habits, start working with a sports psychologist. That's been good for me. Good habits, good results is something we talk about every week." I know Gragson likely already has a NASCAR deal signed, but if he didn't, and I was, a team owner interested in signing him, I would like hearing that. That would give me confidence that Noah is taking the mental side of the sport very seriously. Gragson continued on talking about last season and how he felt, he lost his confidence, more or less. Gragson said, quote, "It got to the point where why keep working my tail off physically and emotionally, wear myself out if the results were the same? I know that's not the right approach, and those things take time, and you have to stick to the process, but I always ride the peaks and valleys. A lot of people say you have to stay centered, but I'm an emotional guy, and the highs are highs, and my lows are really low." Again, right there, I think Gragson's showing a lot of self-awareness. I think that's something he's lacked for much of his NASCAR career. That and discipline. talent has always been there. Big personality, always been great to his sponsors, but it's been self-awareness and discipline on and off track to an extent that have been the question marks. He doesn't really shy away from anything in this article, besides his future plans. Wouldn't talk about that. But I think he comes across really good here. The question is, if he in fact goes to Stewart-Haas Racing in Cup, which seems to be the likely path at this point, will he do good things there? Will Stewart-Haas be good? Will Noah Gragson be good? Honestly, I think it's good that Noah's been through the gauntlet the past few months, because I don't think it's going to get any easier. The number 10 car has missed the playoffs the past 2 seasons. Last year, the 14, 41, 10, they all missed the postseason. He will be joining a Stewart-Haas Racing team that is nowhere near the top of their game. They are struggling, and they're about to lose their leader. Not just their leader, but by far the most talented driver in the building. So there is work to do. I think Noah Gragson's performance in many ways next year will come down to the new Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Did Ford hit on something with this new next-gen redesign, or will there be growing pains out the box? But beyond that even, say they do hit on something and the new Mustang is really fast. Stewart-Haas still has work to do to catch Penske or RFK. Penske just won the championship. RFK had both their drivers in the playoffs. Stewart-Haas Racing lagged behind this season. So while the new Mustang will be very important to Stewart-Haas's growth, they still have a lot of work they got to do themselves. We just saw RCR shuffle up some of their leadership. I'm not sure what's in the cards for Stewart-Haas Racing, but I hope they're planning on doing something similar. I'm not sure they've fully bought into this new next-gen platform. Certainly not the way RFK seems to. When Brad Keselowski came aboard a couple of years ago, there was a massive cultural shift there. From what I understand, there was some internal strife. Not everyone was on board. But look where they've gone since Brad Keselowski came in, and since they shifted their culture. Suddenly RFK is relevant again, something they weren't for half a decade or longer. It's going to take sweeping changes at Stewart-Haas Racing that Noah Gragson alone cannot bring. Noah Gragson will be dependent on those around him, and right now I'm not sure Stewart-Haas Racing has the right people in those positions. So I hope Noah Gragson, assuming he goes to the 10, does well next year. Mentally, he seems to be in a really good place. I'm encouraged by everything I've heard recently. He ran well the Snowball Derby until I think a late race mistake. I think he missed a shift while running third on a late restart and crashed out. But he ran well at 5 flags a few days ago. The talent is there if he gets the mental stuff figured out. Noah Gragson's a Cup Series driver. But is Stewart-Haas Racing a good Cup Series team? Will they be a good team next year? I still have my doubts. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What did you make of some of those Noah Gragson quotes I just read you? Again, go check out the full article. Link is down in the description below. We covered a lot. So leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. While you're down there, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for your very generous support each and every month. I'm going to plant a small teaser of my own. Tomorrow's video is going to be unique, to say the least. I've never done anything quite like that in my time on YouTube. I can't wait to share some of the news. That's right, I get to break some news for a change. It's not too often I get to do that, but it's going to be exciting. So I will see you all then. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, folks.